Welcome, everyone, to the Apoco-Larry podcast. I'm Steve. He is.
Pastor Lawrence Van Beek.
Oh, like solemn.
Yes. I want to be solemn tonight.
Oh, how long do you think we'll last with that?
Until we start reading.
Oh.
We aren't going to read. You are going to read.
Yeah, until I start reading horribly for the rest of the podcast. My friend, it's been a while, but it's good to be back here in the saddle. What are we going to talk about tonight?
David.
Great.
bringing the ark in. This is the big one that people hear sermons on this one, I think, quite often.
Mm-hmm.
David's getting the ark where it was in Kiriath Jearim and bringing it home.
I'm sure glad you said that. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's just start reading. Chapter 6, verse 1, for those of you playing the at-home edition. David again brought together all the able young men of Israel, 30,000. He and all his men went to Bala. I got one right. In Judah to bring up from there the ark of God, which is called by name, the name of the Lord Almighty, who is enthroned between the cherubim and the ark. They set it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Sorry. No, keep going. Then I'll talk.
They set the ark on a new cart and brought it from the house of Abinadab.
Yep.
Oh, like I'm on a roll tonight, which is on the hill. Uzziah, Eo, and the sons of Abinadab were guiding the new cart with the ark of God on it.
Okay, let's stop just for a second. We're going to go too far.
Yeah.
We must not go too. So it figures. I thought there'd be a lot more young men in Israel, but then you pointed out, Steve, that these are able young men, right? And so
yes.
Yeah, and I don't know how old the young men are. Like, to be in the military, by the way, you had to be 20.
Okay.
That's why there's people that believe you're quite safe if you don't accept Jesus Christ before you're 20 and you die before you're 20.
Oh, like that. What's that called? Age of something? Age of accountability. Yes.
Yeah. It's a very, I don't know if it's an evangelical thing or a Pentecostal thing, but they do this age of accountability thing. Remember the Catholics, they baptize you as a kid.
Right.
So they're quite safe. But then there's people who say, if you die as a kid, what happens if you didn't accept Jesus? For those that believe you have to accept Jesus verbally, then they have all of these issues. So some go as late as 20 because of this whole idea. But that's not important to this. The important thing here is you had to be 20 to be in the army. So are these all, when he says young men, are these army men? Or are these just young men, like from 13 up? Because remember, you become a man at 13.
Right.
So with the bar mitzvah, that's the bar mitzvah, is to introduce you into manhood. Yeah, it's kind of neat. So anyway, 30,000 of them gathered with him, and he brought them to Bala to bring up the ark of God, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. And so you remember it has the two cherubim and their wings kind of, as if you ever see the pictures, their wings kind of, they fold them together and then they touch each other across the cherubim. But here's the thing. He set the ark of God on a new cart and brought it from Aminadab. This idea of putting it on a cart is kind of weird because the Philistines put it on a cart when they brought it out, right? But in Ezekiel, what's the second book? Exodus. Yeah. In Exodus, you were supposed to put the cart. Remember, it was on poles, and the priests carried it on their shoulders.
Right. Yes.
No, but there doesn't seem to be any condemnation for not using the poles, for putting it on a cart. That doesn't seem to be the problem. The problem comes up just in a minute.
Okay. So, is it Ayo? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, it's like Ohio, but it's.
I'm a little scared to say it now. Anyway, was walking in front of it. David and all Israel were celebrating with all their might before the Lord, with castanets, harps, lyres, timbrels, sistrums, and cymbals. It was like a full-on band.
Yes, with instruments that we don't know.
Must have been noisy, I'm going to guess. When they came to the threshing floor of Nacon, Uzziah reached out and took hold of the ark of God because the oxen stumbled. The Lord's anger burned against Uzziah because of his irreverent act. Therefore, God struck him down, and he died there beside the ark of God.
And isn't that a weird thing? And so when people talk about that, because we have to kind of say God was okay to do this to Uzzah, right?
Uzzah. Yeah, thank you for saying it right.
I
Uzzah.
apologize. I,
No,
I,
no,
I
no,
could
that's
say
perfect. No, that's perfect. I needed to correct
so
it.
because it sounds like the ark was going to fall off the cart because the ox stumbled, and he just went, "Oh man, the ark's falling," and he pushed it back onto the cart. But it was a very big rule that you could not touch the ark.
Right.
Hence it was on the poles and the
Hence
guys
is on the
carried it.
poles.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so God kills him. It said struck him down. I'm sure that means kills him, not just not knocked him on the ground. And he died there. Of course, there it goes. And he died there beside the ark. So the feeling was that because this was a new time of the ark, that that there was a great deal of pressure to do things exactly right.
Mm,
Not enough pressure that you had to carry them on poles rather than on a cart, but that you shouldn't touch it. And here's the thing that I don't agree with at all, of course. But the people that believe in like chariots of the gods and things,
yes.
they talk about this ark when you put it all together exactly the way God wanted. It was full of electricity, and actually what happens is an electric shock came out and killed him, which I disagree with, but I just thought since they said it, I'd throw it out there.
Sure, that sounds fun.
Yeah, but what actually really happened was God killed him because
Yes.
he did this thing wrong. Yeah.
Okay. Verse 8. Then David was angry because the Lord's wrath had broken out against Uzzah, and to this day the place is called Perez Uzzah.
Yeah, which means breaking of Uzzah or breaking out of Uzzah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Okay. And verse 9. David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how can the ark ever come to me? He was not willing to take the ark of the Lord to be with him in the city of David. Instead, he took it to the house of Edom, Obed Edom, the Gittite. The ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed Edom, the Gittite, for 3 months, and the Lord blessed him and his entire household. Can you imagine having to live with this thing?
yeah. Oh yeah, but he's blessed like crazy.
Yeah.
Like he's winning the lotteries. Things are going great.
Cool table you got here. Don't put anything on it.
Yeah, just leave the table alone.
Yeah, my word. Oof. Okay, verse 12. Now David was told, the Lord has blessed the household of Obed Edom and everything he has because of the ark of God. So David went to bring the ark of God from the house of Obed Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. When those who were carrying the ark of the Lord had taken 6 steps, he sacrificed a bull and the fattened calf. And wearing a linen ephod, David was dancing before the Lord with all his might, while he and all Israel were bringing up the ark of the Lord with shouts and the sound of trumpets.
Yeah. So basically, when Obed Edom was being blessed, it sort of showed that God was okay with this now.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't really that David, I want all this stuff for myself.
That's where I went.
No, it could be. No, it could be. It was more like, it's safe to bring it into to bring it in. And so the other weird thing that happens here, and this is the thing with David that I don't get at all, is that he sacrifices a bull and a fatted calf, and he's wearing a linen ephod. Now, a linen ephod is the garb of the priest.
Mm-hmm.
So he's dressed like a priest, and he's offering priestly sacrifices. Now, the authors I read will say, well, he was king priest, and he was doing these priestly duties, and it's okay. But he's of the tribe of Judah, so he's not of a priestly tribe. But then they say, well, he was sort of like Melchizedek, and he was foreshadowing Jesus. Where I think it's too much. I think they've gone too far. I think that David, he cares and he loves God, but he's doing these priestly things. And the thing that I don't get is God is okay with David doing it, but when Saul tried to do it,
yeah,
he was punished for it. Now they have very different relationships with God, these two guys.
Yes, 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 yes.
But it's still a weird thing that he dresses like a priest and he does these
Hmm.
priestly things, and he does this a few times.
Yeah.
But God seems to be okay with it when David does it,
Mm, mm.
which I just find I don't know. I struggle to reconcile that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Okay.
but if you want to reconcile it, you can say maybe he's foreshadowing the Melchizedek Jesus thing, because Jesus and David were both,
Yeah.
from that house. But so if you want to go there to make yourself feel better, I think go ahead. But
Yeah.
otherwise, you got to go. I'm not sure what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not standard practice. Let's put it that way.
That's right. We can't say it's not kosher because obviously it is.
Verse 16. As the ark of the Lord was entering the city of David, Michal, daughter of Saul, watched from a window. And when she saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord, she despised him in her heart.
Now it's your turn. You got to do your thing for me.
But is it like we can dance? We can dance.
Yeah,
Everyone, look at their hands.
yeah. You can dance if you want to.
If you can dance, if you want
Leave
to,
your friends behind.
but if their friends don't
If
dance,
they
then
don't dance, they're no friends of mine. And so and she was no friend of his,
yeah.
because she was very upset with him over this. Now I think she despised him in her heart, and I think this might be because her father carried the kingships in a more royal,
Mm.
austere manner. Mind you, he threw spears at everybody all the time, and he was kind of nuts. But maybe she didn't like him being common.
Ah, that's a very good insight. That's a very good insight. Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. Verse 17. They brought the ark of the Lord and set it in place inside the tent that David had pitched for it. And David sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings before the Lord. After he had sacrificed the burnt offerings and the fellowship offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord Almighty. He gave a loaf of bread, a cake of dates, and a cake of raisins to each person in the crowd, the whole crowd of Israelites, both men and women, and all the people went to their homes.
Yeah, so he must have had bakers working for weeks or days before this,
Yeah.
to make all of these little raisin bread things,
Yep.
these raisin cakes. And remember watching The Chosen. One of the big things they loved was that their mother made these raisin cakes for them, the
Mm.
disciples. And so, yeah, kind of neat.
Yeah. But continues on with that theme that you said David is clearly acting as a priest here, right? Because he's
Again,
sacrificing,
yes,
blessing the
again, he's doing
people.
priestly stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, weird, eh? Huh.
Verse 20. When David returned home to bless his household, Michal, daughter of Saul, came out to meet him and said, how the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, going around half naked in full view of the slave girls of his servants, as any vulgar fellow would. Well, that doesn't seem like much of a rebuke at all.
No, no, no. So that's where she's saying like a common man,
Yeah.
you know, and in front of the slave girls. I don't know why that made a big difference to him.
Yeah.
But Michael was very upset.
Yeah. Verse 21, David said to Michal, it was before the Lord who chose me rather than your father or anyone from his house when he appointed me ruler over the Lord's people Israel.
And this is the first time you see David say anything at all negative about Saul. I
Yeah.
think. I think this is the first time, unless he said something once before about Saul. But here he is. But I think he's just upset with her, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying, "Look, God chose me. I will do this thing the way I choose to do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way God, you do it your way, and I'll do it God's way. We can disagree."
Nice. Oh gosh, we're quoting songs all over the place. To continue on that sentence, David says, "And I will celebrate before the Lord." Verse 22. I will even become more undignified than this, and I will be humiliated in my own eyes. But by these slave girls you spoke of, I will be held in honor. And Michal, daughter of
Weird, eh?
Saul,
Weird, eh?
yeah,
Like basically he's saying, look, you can say what you want, but the people love me for this.
yeah,
Yeah. and I will do. And really, in fairness to David, he really seems to still just really care about the people. Like
Yeah.
he's being a good king.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and now then finish.
And Michal, daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death.
Yes, and I don't know if that means she had nothing more to do with David until the day of her death, but I think that's kind of what it means, right?
Yeah. Kind of
Now he
kind of
had
seems
all
like that.
yeah, and it's too bad though because in the earlier part, like she really cared about him, and when he first was granted Michael
Right.
and was given, he was very young at that time, probably 17 or 18 or 19 when that happened, and this is what 13 or 14 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between, newly married and been married for a while.
some of
No, I
some,
don't think that.
some of
I
the
do not think
barriers
that.
some of the barriers to criticism have maybe fallen in that time.
Yes, yes, yes. And if you want to write to Dr. Van Peek, you can reach him. No, but it does say that that really she didn't. Wasn't she with someone else in the meantime though? Now I've forgotten. She was
Well,
she was kind of given to someone else for a while.
right. Wasn't when
Running
David
away.
ran away,
Yeah.
wasn't she given? And then when Saul was killed, wasn't that the time that I'm trying to
I don't
remember the
know. Does
story?
it? I don't know if it explicitly states when she came back. But anyway, she's fairly upset with him and never has any children.
Yeah.
It almost reads like this is a punishment from God
Mm,
that she had no children till the day of her death. But I don't know if that's what it's saying. That might be saying too much.
yeah.
Maybe it's just she was mad at him and it never went away.
Yeah.
They, her disgust with the way he acted never
Yeah.
ended.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he acted like a priest, but when it came to his people, he continually acts like a good king.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. Yep.
This is still fairly on in his rule, mind you.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have time for all this to go to his head and become like every other king.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right. Takes
so
takes
anyway,
takes yeah.
yeah,
Well, thank you for that, my friend. That's fantastic.
yeah.
Here's
And the ark is now in Jerusalem, I would
yeah,
say.
and a fantastic entry of the ark into Jerusalem. David dancing before it, the people rejoicing, huge celebration.
Cakes.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything that we could even think of what it would be like. We just there's
Mm-mm.
nothing.
No, no.
So
Maybe when the when the Canucks win?
when the Canucks win the Stanley Cup, yeah,
Yeah,
which which will truly be a miracle at that
yeah.
point. Ah, yes, yes. Okay, well, thank you for that, folks, my friend. I appreciate you doing that, folks. We've missed you, so we're glad to be back in the saddle. We'll be back again next week. Do this chapter 7 of 2 Samuel, and we'll hear more about the story of David. There's lots more in the story of David that is very interesting. So we have a good beginning. We'll have a little bit of a problematic middle. But all right, until next time, I was Steve, he was Larry, and this was the Apoco-Larry Podcast.